Hey, this is Kina Knisley with Real Talk About Real Estate. I'm with Keller Williams in Honolulu, Hawaii. And I am with Brandy Garner, and she is in the Salt Lake City area in Utah. Thanks for being here, Brandy. It's so great to see you again. But so
Yeah.
now, what areas do you cover? Salt Lake's pretty big, and I know you can go all the way to like Midland and George, and there's something down
Yeah,
way to
yeah.
Arlen.
So I mostly focus on Salt Lake and Davis County. So I was born and raised in Salt Lake, in the Salt Lake Valley, and married a military man right out of high school. My high school boyfriend joined the military, and so we kind of started moving around a little bit. And when I moved back to Utah after all of that, after 17 years of that, I moved back to Utah, and I live in Davis County now, which is just north of Salt Lake. So I mostly cover Salt Lake and Davis County. I do a little bit of business down in Utah County, which is just south of Salt Lake. But the top of Davis to the bottom of Utah County is probably, almost 2 hours. So
Yeah.
I try to kind of, and like you said, it's a really big area. There's a lot to cover there. So, but I try to just focus on what I know, which is Davis and Salt Lake County.
Okay. So what's your average price point in that area for a single family home?
So it kind of varies by county. I know you're familiar with Park City, and so the Park City's in Summit County, and Summit County is, I think the average sale price right now is 3.7 million or 3.2 million, I think. Their median sale price is 1.7. And so those numbers kind of skew the area numbers. But our MLS averages right now are right in the 660 range. Median is 515. So, but in Davis County, it's a little bit lower. So if you get down to Davis County, then, you're kind of looking at, 560, 570. Salt Lake, you're more in the 650 range. If you get down to Utah County, then that's kind of in the 600 range. So it kind of depends on, where you're at and where you want to be, but anywhere between 550 and 700 probably.
Yeah. So who's moving to Salt Lake right now? Is there industry or real?
Gosh, I can't pinpoint where the growth is focused in, but I know that there was a stat that came out, I think in April, that I did a video on that says that Utah is the number two in job growth, the number two state in job growth since COVID. So people are moving here for jobs. It's a beautiful area. People move here for the outdoors. There's a ton of outdoor activities. I was talking with a guy earlier this year that wanted to move to Utah, and he's retired and he just wants to be close to skiing and hiking and all the outdoor stuff. So, but I want to say it's the last 5 or 6 years we've been, we consistently rank in the top five probably of states that for job growth. So I don't know exactly where that growth is coming from, but we definitely have a lot to offer here. So
Yeah, I mean, I can vouch. We have a little place, a little shameless plug here. I do have a Airbnb in Park City. If you guys
mhm.
have to go, it is. It's
Yay.
great skiing, it's great hiking, great mountain biking. Any time of year that we go, we can always
Yeah,
go outside.
yeah. I
And
mean,
then
and some people think of Park City as skiing, right? But there's a lot to do there in the summertime too. So it's really an all four seasons
yeah, and the shop
destination.
restaurants are just delicious.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. The
Yeah.
river horse is our favorite, and the golden Hirsch. So, see, I'm doing a little ad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a lot of good stuff up there. So and shopping and just the quaint, it's quiet and especially in the heat of the summer, you can go up there to kind of get out of the heat a little bit. It's usually a little bit cooler up there. So yeah, it's a nice place to get away to.
but now, what about condos? Do you have a lot of condos in Salt
We
Lake?
We do, yeah. And, being around the military life for the past 20 years, I've lived in several different places. And a lot of the places that I've lived don't have a huge like condo and townhome presence, but there's a lot here. And I think, with our average sale prices being in the 600 range, it adds to the affordability to have those townhome and condo options. So, the brand new ones, there's a ton of building going on. And I want to say that the brand new ones are, in the 450 range, which is totally doable.
So what are your
Um,
maintenance fees and HOA
what's
monthly?
up?
Your monthly HOAs?
It kind of depends on the area, but I mean, depending on like what's included. And there are a lot of communities that are just homes, single family homes that have a lot of HOAs as well. And they could range from, 50 to a couple $100 a month, depending on if they have pools and parks and clubhouses and trails and stuff like that within the community. Pickleball is becoming a really big thing. A lot of the communities are building pickleball courts. Yeah. But as far as
Fundraiser.
exactly.
Yeah.
But for the townhomes, I want to say what I've seen is anywhere between maybe 75 to 300 or 400 a month for.
So I'm going to tell you, we see between 800 and 3,000 here because
Wow. And
it's master plan insurance is what they're saying it is. But I'm going to tell
yeah,
you, the more of these videos I do, it's not matching. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, ours are crazy. So yours sound like a bargain, honestly.
Yeah, I mean there are some communities that are higher. There are some kind of that are more mountain communities that have more amenities, gated communities, private roads, stuff like that. They might be a little bit higher. But in general, what most people are looking at in the valley is going to be less than 500.
Now, you do have a military base nearby?
In Davis County, yes. So north of Salt Lake, which is probably about a half an hour, 40 minutes out of Salt Lake, we have Hill Air Force Base.
Okay. Is it big?
There's like, I want to say there's like 4 units there. I come from the Army background, so I don't know a lot about the Air Force side of it, but I think there's 4 units up there, active units. And
Yes.
I've had friends that have, their kids are stationed there or whatever. And I know they have deployments out of there still. So Clearfield is the big city that's right, the bigger city, I guess, that's right outside of that base. So there's a pretty heavy military presence in that city. I just sold a place in Clinton, which is right outside of Clearfield, and that was a retired VA family that was leaving the state. So yeah.
Yeah. No. Now, what about investing? Can you pick up properties that will cash flow or?
It's funny, I was just in a mastermind right before this, and we were having this conversation. It's pretty tough to find unless you're putting, 30 to 40% down. It's hard to, buy a property that's going to be able to rent out for more than your mortgage. So, I mean, it's a growing area. So if you can, put the 30 to 40% down and rent it out and have somebody pay your mortgage, it still is not that bad of an investment because the growth that happens here in Salt Lake is still very attractive, for somebody that's building a portfolio. So, but as far as, being able to put 20% down and then renting it out for, a couple $100 more than your mortgage, there's not a lot here that is going to be able to give you that kind of return without a bigger down payment.
So that's what we find too. It's just the interest rates right now just are not optimal
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
DSCRs and yeah. So what else do you want people to know about Salt Lake?
I guess just, I mean, the people that come here and love Salt Lake, just there's so much to love about our valley. We just have, we have 4 seasons, so there's a lot to do in the summertime. There's a lot to do in the wintertime. We have the amazing color change in the fall, and hot summers. So you can go to the river, you can go to the lakes, you can go hiking, biking. There's a ton of mountain biking trails. That's kind of the big draw, I think, for Utah. But we have, one of the strongest economies in the United States too, with our job growth. And we also have, typically, we kind of beat the national rates for unemployment. I think I was looking at the numbers the other day. I think for April, the Utah was 3.1% unemployment, where the national was 4.2. So, we're doing pretty well there as far as employment goes. Housing, we're kind of on the higher end for housing, I feel like. Affordability is a huge issue. But, the further you get out of Salt Lake, we have a lot of more rural areas that, as you kind of go further out, we're starting to have more rural areas. And a lot of communities that are being built kind of a little further out of town. And those ones are a little bit more affordable. So there's a big draw there for finding affordable housing. There's a lot of ADUs. A lot more ADUs are going in. They're trying to make it more friendly for ADUs. We also have a really good. I have a friend I was talking to the other day, and they've been trying to get their aunt to leave Utah and come move closer to them. And she's like, no, we love Utah. We love Utah. I think they're drawn to the kind of the culture. So there's a really big art scene. There's a lot of museums. There's a lot of street festivals. Now that it's summertime, like Main Street shuts down every Friday night for music, and there's family stuff, and so there's really a lot to do.
The zoo, the Natural History Museum. My grandkids love Thanksgiving, which is a really good name for something.
Oh, the Thanksgiving Point.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. So
the Children's Museum. My grandkids love going to the Children's Museum.
See, neither of us look like we're old enough to have grandchildren.
I'll take that all day.
Right.
Yeah, but it's a really cool place. And we have the Salt Lake Airport, so it's an international airport. You can get in and out super easily. I've lived in Washington.
It's the stepchild, and you have to walk 5 miles to get to the United.
To the other, yeah. Well, I lived in Washington State for 10 years, and if we needed to get cheaper flights, we had to drive to Seattle to get to the airport where you have more options. And I feel like the Seattle airport was just so much harder to get in and out of, and the lines are long, and the parking is ridiculous. And Salt Lake is just so much easier to get in and out, and you can go anywhere, and it's right there. I mean, it's 15 minutes from me. So
yeah, it's beautiful. All right. Well, thank you so much, Andy. This has been great. If you have anybody that would go to Utah, the Salt Lake area, Park City, any of those areas, I would love to connect you with Brandy. This has been Kina Knisley with Real Talk About Real Estate. Thank you, Brandy.
Thanks, Kina. Bye.